They might doubt your distance, but you keep walking, because while they're watching, you're working. While they're gossiping, you're growing. And one day, yes, one day, they'll look up in awe at the very person they once ignored. You owe it to yourself to stop living for their approval. You owe it to yourself to become the version of you that even your past self couldn't imagine. So today, make a decision. Not a weak promise, not a maybe someday. Make a decision that from this moment on, you're going to lock in, you're going to focus, and you're going to shock every single one of them, not with your words, but with your results. You don't need to announce your every move to the world. You don't need to post about your goals or your pain. You don't need to convince anybody to believe in your vision. In fact, the moment you truly decide to change your life, you start to understand that silence is no longer empty. It's full of purpose, full of direction, full of focus. When you're quiet, you can finally hear what your soul is trying to tell you. When you stop explaining yourself to people who aren't listening, you gain the energy to pour into something that actually matters. Yourself. Because the loudest person in the room is rarely the most dangerous. It's the one you didn't see coming. The one who was working in the shadows, building without applause, healing without attention, and mastering themselves in silence. That's the person who rises. That's the person who shocks everyone. You don't need to shout what you're about to do. Just do it. Let them underestimate you. Let them ignore you. Let them assume you fell off. Because while they sleep on you, you're preparing to wake the world up. There's a special kind of strength in holding your tongue when you want to scream, in keeping your plans to yourself when everything inside of you wants to be seen, wants to be validated. But true warriors know validation is a drug. Once you start craving it, you're no longer chasing your purpose, you're chasing approval. And approval will keep you in chains. You start posting your progress for likes. You start sharing your next move because you want people to clap for you before you've even done anything. And that's where most people fall off. They talk themselves out of greatness by needing the world to believe in them before they've earned it. But you don't need an audience. You don't need noise. Because your focus is sacred. And when you protect your focus, your energy sharpens, your mind gets clearer, and your power becomes undeniable. There is something fierce about being silent while everyone else is shouting. While they're performing for attention, you're preparing for impact. And one day they'll ask, where did this come from? And you'll smile because you'll know. It didn't come from nowhere. It came from the quiet nights, the lonely hours, the battles no one saw, and the work you put in when nobody was watching. It's funny how people stop checking in on you when you go silent. They assume you've given up. They assume you're done. But silence isn't the end. It's the beginning. That quiet phase is when you're planting roots so deep, no storm can tear you apart later. Let them talk while you train. Let them laugh while you learn. Because every second they spend watching others, you're spending becoming someone unstoppable. You're not trying to prove anything to anyone anymore. The ego is gone. The need to explain is gone. All that remains is the work. And the work doesn't lie. Results don't lie. That body you built, that business you started, that discipline you sharpened, none of it came from a post or a status update. It came from grinding in the dark. It came from silence. It came from choosing self-respect over validation. Every time you wanted to quit and didn't, you were writing a chapter in your comeback story. And when it's finally time for the world to see you again, you won't need to say a word. Your presence will speak. Your results will scream. And the silence will echo louder than any words ever could. People will always have something to say. They'll doubt you, dismiss you, disrespect you. But the beauty of silence is that it strips them of power. When you stop reacting to every insult, every rumor, every ounce of shade, you take back control. Because not every action deserves your energy. Not every comment deserves a response. And not every person deserves access to you. Some people talk so much because they're afraid of their own reflection. They fill the air with words because the silence would force them to face who they really are. But you don't run from the quiet. You embrace it. You use it to sharpen your edge. You've got no time for back and forths. No time for drama. Well, they're busy trying to be seen. You're busy becoming legendary. And one day, they'll have no choice but to acknowledge what you've become. Not because you told them, not because you begged them, But because your life will become the loudest testimony there is, you'll be undeniable. Not because of your words, but because of the results you created when no one was watching. You ever wonder why some of the most powerful people are the quietest in the room? It's because they don't need to announce their value. They know it. They don't need to argue about their worth. They live it. And that's where your strength is born, not in how loud you are, but in how sure you are of who you're becoming. You don't need to warn anyone. You don't need to prove anything to anybody who's already made up their mind about you. Let them misunderstand you. Let them count you out. Every time they do, they're giving you fuel, and the more they doubt you, the deeper your hunger grows. This world loves noise, but it doesn't respect it. What it respects is evolution, growth, mastery, that quiet, relentless climb to the top, the kind of rise that doesn't require clapping, that doesn't need a stage, just vision, just discipline, just you versus you. And the day you stop speaking and start executing, everything changes. You no longer care what they think, because your life becomes the answer. Every success is a sentence. Every victory is a paragraph. And when it's all said and done, your journey will read like a book that left everyone speechless. They don't know how hard it's been. They don't know the nights you cried in silence, the mornings you forced yourself to get up when everything in your soul wanted to stay down. They don't know what it cost you to still believe when nothing was working. And that's why your silence is sacred. Because it holds your pain, it holds your truth, and it holds your power. You're not where you are by accident. You've been shaped by the fire, molded by the struggle. And everything you went through in silence gave you a strength they'll never understand. So when the time comes and they finally see what you've built, what you've become, they'll be shocked. But you won't be. Because you'll know exactly what it took. You'll remember every moment you almost gave up but didn't. You'll remember how they forgot you, how they doubted you, how they whispered about you, but you stayed silent. And in that silence, you created something louder than any scream. A legacy. So now, stay quiet. Stay focused. The noise will always be there. The doubters will always have something to say, but you've outgrown the need to answer them. Your only response now is excellence. Your only reply is transformation. You're not here to explain. You're here to evolve. Every day you stay silent and show up for yourself, you're stacking bricks. You're building something unshakable. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day soon, the people who overlooked you will be forced to face what you've built. And they'll wonder how you did it. They'll ask how you rose. And you won't have to say a thing, because your results will do the talking. Your life will be the answer, and your silence will be the loudest sound in the room. You live in a world designed to steal your attention. Every beep, every buzz, every notification, every flashing headline is a battle trying to pull your focus away from what matters most. You. Distraction is the silent enemy dressed in convenience and entertainment, whispering promises of escape while robbing you of your greatness. You can't win if you're constantly chasing the next thing that catches your eye. Discipline is your shield. Discipline is the fortress that keeps you guarded against the endless noise that surrounds you. To cut out the noise, you have to be ruthless. Not with others, but with yourself. You must decide that your time, your energy, your dreams are worth protecting. Because when you allow distractions to run wild, you're handing over your power to a world that doesn't care about your future. It's time to lock in. It's time to say no to everything that doesn't serve your purpose. Discipline isn't a punishment, it's a declaration. A declaration that you are done settling for less than you deserve. Most people think discipline means restricting themselves or living a joyless life. That's the lie. True discipline is freedom. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from regret. When you master discipline, you're no longer a slave to impulse or momentary pleasure. You choose what you consume, what you watch, what you listen to, who you spend time with. Every choice is a brick in the foundation of your success, or a crack in the walls of your potential. Distraction builds cracks, discipline builds empires. You have to look at your day and ask, where am I wasting my life? How many hours did I scroll mindlessly today? How many moments did I spend worrying about what someone else is doing instead of building my own dreams? Those moments add up, and if you don't control them, they will control you. The key to cutting out the noise is deciding what you're building and then guarding it fiercely. Cutting out the noise means learning the power of focus, the ability to tune everything else out and zero in on what actually matters. It's like being a sniper, not a shotgun. You don't spray your attention everywhere. You take aim, breathe, and fire at the target that will bring you closer to your goal. You have to be intentional about where your mind goes. That means setting boundaries with yourself and others. It means turning off the phone, closing the tabs, walking away from the distractions, even if it's uncomfortable, because comfort is the enemy of growth. When you discipline yourself to focus, you create space for creativity, for breakthroughs, for real work. Distraction fills your life with noise and leaves you empty. Discipline fills your life with purpose and leaves you fulfilled. The louder the world gets, the quieter you must become, quiet enough to hear the voice inside telling you what to do next. People will try to pull you into their chaos. They want to gossip, complain, argue, distract you with drama. But if you don't stand firm, you'll find yourself swept away in a storm you didn't even want to be part of. Discipline means choosing peace over conflict. It means not giving your energy to those who don't lift you higher. It means showing up every day with a mission, undeterred by the noise around you. You just push. When you master this, you become unshakable. You don't just survive the storm, you learn how to dance in the rain without losing sight of the sun. The noise doesn't disappear, but it loses its power over you. You create your own rhythm. You own your own lane. And when distractions come knocking, you simply don't answer. Your success is not an accident. It's the result of a mind trained to focus, a heart committed to growth, and a soul unwilling to settle. Discipline isn't something you find overnight. It's built every day. It's choosing to wake up when your body wants to sleep. It's choosing to work when your mind wants to rest. It's choosing long-term victory over short-term comfort. And the beautiful thing? Every small act of discipline compounds. Every time you say no to a distraction, you say yes to yourself. Every time you push through resistance, you grow stronger. Your discipline becomes a muscle that can't be broken. And that muscle will carry you farther than talent, luck, or opportunity ever could. Because while others fall victim to distraction, you're moving forward with unstoppable momentum. Discipline is not just about cutting out noise. It's about becoming the noise, the force that drowns out doubt, fear, and distraction with pure, unrelenting focus. The world doesn't reward the distracted. It rewards the consistent. It rewards the disciplined. You want to shock everyone? Stop running after distractions and start running toward your dreams with single-minded purpose. Cut the noise from your life, not just the digital noise, but the mental noise, the emotional noise, the noise of comparison and doubt. Silence the inner critic that says you're not enough. Cut out the toxic relationships that drain you. Remove the habits that keep you stuck. You have a purpose that's too big to be drowned out by static. The difference between those who live average lives and those who live legendary ones is simple. Discipline over distraction. The choice to guard your time and energy like your life depends on it, because it does. So today, start small. Turn off your phone for an hour. Say no to one unnecessary meeting. Ignore one pointless argument. Focus on what only you can do to move your life forward, because every moment you reclaim from distraction is a moment invested in yourself. And when you do this day after day, week after week, month after month, you'll create a life so powerful it shocks everyone around you. Not because you told them to watch, but because your results become impossible to ignore. Discipline is the quiet force that will carry you through. Cut out the noise, focus on your mission, and watch as the world stands still, stunned by the unstoppable person you've become. Healing is not a public spectacle. It's not meant for applause or validation. Real healing happens in the quiet corners of your soul, away from the noise of opinions and judgments. When you choose to heal in private, you give yourself the sacred space to truly feel your pain without rushing or hiding. You allow your wounds to breathe, to soften, and to close at their own pace. In a world obsessed with sharing every moment, every struggle, every victory, healing silently is a radical act of self-respect. It says, I am more than the noise around me. I am a work in progress, and I will grow without needing anyone's approval. When you heal in private, you guard your transformation from those who don't understand it yet, from those who might try to stop it. You create a sacred silence where strength is born and resilience takes root. This is how you prepare yourself to rise, not just with a loud announcement, but with undeniable power that speaks through your actions, not your words. Growth is a quiet revolution. It's the slow, steady climb out of the darkness that no one sees but you. When you grow in silence, you avoid the distractions of external validation, the pressure to prove yourself, or the temptation to brag before the work is done. You keep your focus on the process, not the applause. This kind of growth is deeper, more genuine. It's rooted in humility and patience. You learn to trust the invisible progress that no one can measure except you. You don't rush to explain your journey or defend your struggles because you know that true growth is understood only when it's complete. When you grow quietly, you surprise people not with empty promises or loud declarations, but with the results that change everything. You become a quiet storm, moving deliberately, gaining strength and wisdom in the silence that most people fear. This is the kind of growth that lasts. Healing and growing in silence doesn't mean you are alone. It means you choose your company wisely. You protect your heart from those who thrive on drama, gossip, or negativity. You surround yourself with peace, with people who respect your journey even if they don't fully understand it. Healing in private is a form of self-love that demands boundaries. It means saying no to conversations that reopen wounds and yes to activities that nourish your soul. It's about taking the time to reflect, journal, meditate, or simply sit with your thoughts without distraction. When you give yourself permission to heal and grow quietly, you create a strong foundation built on self-awareness and inner peace. This foundation becomes your anchor, your guide, your source of strength when life's storms hit. You may be silent, but inside you're building an unshakable fortress. There's power in mystery. When you don't reveal every detail of your pain or your progress, you create a sense of respect around your journey. People will try to pull you into the spotlight or ask for explanations, but you stay grounded. You don't owe anyone your story. Your healing is not a public event. It's your private victory. The silence around your growth invites curiosity but denies. It forces people to notice the change without needing you to tell them why. This mystery becomes your strength, your shield against those who want to dissect your struggles or question your progress. When you grow silently, you control the narrative, not through words, but through the undeniable proof of your transformation. You become a beacon of quiet power, a living example that true healing doesn't need an audience. The journey of healing in private often feels lonely. There are moments when you crave connection, when the weight of silence threatens to crush you, but these moments are part of the process. They teach you resilience and self-reliance. You learn to be your own comfort, your own cheerleader, your own best friend. This is the ultimate form of strength. Being able to sit with your pain without needing to run from it or explain it. The silence becomes a sanctuary where you find clarity and peace. Over time, that silence transforms from a place of pain to a place of power. You realize that the scars you hide are the marks of your survival, your wisdom, your growth. And because you healed quietly, your comeback is unstoppable. You don't just bounce back, you rise with grace and dignity that commands respect without saying a word. Healing and growing in silence teaches you the value of patience. The world wants fast fixes and instant gratification, but healing isn't a race. It's a process that unfolds in its own time. When you rush healing, you risk reopening old wounds or masking pain that needs attention. But when you commit to quiet growth, you respect the timing of your soul. You give yourself permission to take small steps every day, knowing that each step forward is progress. You learn to celebrate the invisible victories. The moments when you choose peace over anger, love over bitterness, hope over despair. These small, silent triumphs build momentum that no one else sees but you. Over time, they accumulate into a transformation so profound it shocks those who only see the surface. Healing in private is the greatest gift you can give yourself because it allows you to grow into the person you were always meant to be, free from the pressure to perform or explain. When you heal in private and grow in silence, you become a master of your own story. You refuse to let your pain define you or your struggles limit your future. You write your own script, one chapter at a time, without the distraction of outside voices trying to tell you who you are or what you can become. This silent growth gives you confidence and clarity that radiate from within. People will notice the change, not because you shouted it from the rooftops, but because your presence commands attention. You become a living testament to the power of quiet strength. The world may be loud, chaotic, and demanding, but your soul moves with a calm intensity that shakes the foundation of every doubt, fear, and limitation. Healing in private and growing in silence isn't just a strategy, it's a lifestyle. It's the way you reclaim your power and rise to your highest self without apology. The fiercest competition you will ever face isn't against the world, against your peers, or against anyone else. It's the battle within, the relentless pursuit to outwork your old self. Too many people waste their energy looking sideways, comparing their journey to others, measuring their success against someone else's highlight reel. But the truth is, the only person you should compete with is the person you were yesterday. The version of you who doubted, who gave up too soon, who settled for comfort over growth. Every day you wake up, you have a choice. Will you show up and push harder than you did before, or will you let your old habits and excuses win? When you make the decision to outwork your old self, you step into a game with no limits, because your only opponent is your past, and your only goal is to be better, stronger, faster than the version of you that exists in your memory. This is where true progress is made. Outworking your old self means waking up before the world expects it, staying up after the world has gone to sleep, grinding when everyone else rests. It means pushing past pain, beyond fatigue, past the voice in your head that tells you to quit. It's not about being perfect. No one is. It's about being better than you were yesterday. Each small victory over your old self is a win against complacency, laziness, and fear. You become unstoppable because your motivation comes from within, not from outside validation. You don't need a crowd to cheer you on. You don't need social media likes or applause. The fire that burns inside you to be greater than your former self is enough to drive you through every obstacle. Outworking your old self is the foundation of lasting success because it builds resilience, discipline, and an unbreakable work ethic. Competing with others is a game rigged with distractions and false metrics. When you focus on who they are or what they have, you lose sight of your own path. You get pulled into comparison traps that leave you discouraged or bitter. The truth is, their journey isn't your journey. Their timeline isn't your timeline. The only person you need to measure yourself against is the you that existed before you committed to change. When you compete with your old self, the goal isn't to be better than someone else. It's to be better than you were yesterday, last week, last year. This mindset keeps you humble but hungry. It forces you to look inward for growth instead of outward for approval. You learn to celebrate progress, not perfection. And that's where real transformation happens. The only race worth running is the one against your past limitation. Outworking your old self means embracing discomfort. Growth never happens in the comfort zone. It happens when you push through the hard days, the setbacks, the moments when your body and mind scream, stop. It's about building mental toughness as much as physical stamina. The version of you that existed before might have quit when things got tough, but not anymore. You're learning to welcome challenges as opportunities to prove your strength and resilience. Every drop of sweat, every sacrifice, every early morning or late night is an investment in the new you, and the new you doesn't settle for the same excuses or the same results. Outworking your old self means outlasting doubt, outpacing fear, and outshining your former limitations. When you commit to this, you become a force that no setback can stop, because your drive comes from a place deeper than circumstance. It comes from the unshakable belief that you're capable of greatness. This journey isn't easy. Some days you'll want to quit. You'll feel like your old self is winning the battle. But that's when discipline becomes your best friend. Discipline means showing up even when you don't feel like it. Discipline means pushing through fatigue and frustration. Discipline means honoring your commitment to yourself more than your temporary feelings. Outworking your old self is a daily choice. It's not about massive leaps forward every day, but consistent steps, no matter how small, toward being a better version of you. It's about forgiving yourself when you stumble, but refusing to stay down. Every time you choose discipline over defeat, you win. That's how legacies are built, one hard-earned day at a time. Remember, greatness isn't reserved for the chosen few. It's earned by the ones willing to outwork the ghosts of their past. Your old self is not your enemy. It's a reflection of where you came from, the foundation you built upon. But if you want to rise, you must honor that old self by outworking it, by proving to yourself that growth is possible, that transformation is real. The difference between who you were and who you will become is effort and mindset. When you focus on beating your past self, You tap into a well of motivation that no external success can match. You don't just change your circumstances, you change your identity. You rewrite your story. And that story, it's one of relentless hustle, unyielding faith in yourself, and the refusal to settle for anything less than extraordinary. Outworking your old self is the most powerful competition you will ever win, because it's a competition that nobody else can fight for you. At the end of the day, the results will speak louder than any promise or excuse. When you outwork your old self, you create a new standard for your life. You shock the world not by beating others, but by beating the limits you once believed defined you. You become a living example that the greatest battles are won within. So stop looking outside for permission or validation. Stop comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel. Focus on the person in the mirror. The person with all the potential, scars, and dreams. Outwork that person every single day, because when you do, nothing and no one can stand in your way. Your greatest competition is your past self. And every time you outwork that old self, you win. Pain is not just something to endure. It's a message, a signal that something inside you needs attention, growth, or change. The moment you decide to invest in your mind, you're saying you refuse to let pain define you or break you. Instead, you choose to turn that pain into purpose, transforming wounds into wisdom, scars into strength. Your mind is your most valuable asset. And like any asset, it requires care, attention, and investment. When life knocks you down, whether it's loss, failure, heartbreak, or disappointment, the real power lies in how you respond. Will you let the pain consume you, or will you harness it to fuel a deeper purpose? Investing in your mind means committing to growth, learning, and healing so you can rise stronger than before. It's the difference between a life that's broken by pain and one that's built from it. Your mind is the battlefield where every struggle and triumph takes place. When you invest in it, you become the master of your thoughts instead of a victim of circumstance. It's easy to let pain cloud your vision, to spiral into negativity or self-doubt. But when you make the conscious decision to invest in your mental strength, you reclaim control. You choose to fill your mind with knowledge, positivity, and strategies that uplift rather than tear down. This investment doesn't happen overnight. It's a daily commitment to feed your mind with what it needs to grow. Books, mentors, meditation, reflection, and sometimes simply silence to hear your own truth. The pain you faced becomes the raw material for building resilience, creativity, and deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. Turning pain into purpose means shifting your perspective. It's not about denying the hurt or pretending everything is fine. It's about facing it head on and asking, what can I learn from this? How can this make me better? When you change the way you view pain, you change your story. Suddenly, pain isn't the end. It's the beginning of something greater. Many of the most inspiring people in history didn't just survive pain, they invested in their minds to transform that pain into a driving purpose that fueled their success. Your pain can become your compass, pointing you to your true calling, your mission, your passion. It's the fuel that ignites your inner fire when nothing else will. When you turn pain into purpose, you stop being a victim and start being a warrior of your own life. Investing in your mind also means surrounding yourself with the right influences. Your environment shapes your thoughts more than you realize. Toxic relationships, negative media, and destructive habits feed pain and keep you stuck in cycles of despair. But when you commit to mental investment, you curate a space that nurtures growth. You seek out people who inspire you, books that educate you, and practices that strengthen your mental muscles. You learn to guard your mind like a precious garden, removing weeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, and planting seeds of hope, faith, and courage. This conscious cultivation empowers you to turn pain into purpose, because your mind becomes a fortress, unshaken by setbacks and focused on what truly matters. The more you invest here, the less power pain holds over your life. The process of turning pain into purpose isn't always comfortable. It requires honesty, vulnerability, and a willingness to face your darkest moments. But within that discomfort lies transformation. Every painful experience becomes a lesson. Every setback a chance to recalibrate. When you invest in your mind, you develop emotional intelligence. The ability to understand, process, and channel your emotions into constructive action. You begin to see your struggles as teachers rather than punishers. This shift rewires your brain, helping you respond with strength instead of despair, with hope instead of defeat. Pain no longer controls your narrative. Your purpose does. This is not just mental toughness, it's mental mastery. And mastery comes from investment, consistent, deliberate, and courageous. Purpose gives pain meaning. Without purpose, pain can feel like a curse, a random burden that serves no reason. But with purpose, pain becomes a tool, one that chisels away the unnecessary, refines your character, and sharpens your focus. When you invest in your mind, you build a vision bigger than your pain. This vision pulls you forward when the weight of life threatens to hold you back. It gives you the strength to wake up each day with intention, to fight through hardship, and to keep climbing when others quit. Your mind becomes your anchor, your compass, your engine. Investing here is the most powerful choice you can make because your mind shapes your reality. The pain you once feared becomes the catalyst for your greatest achievements. Ultimately, investing in your mind to turn pain into purpose is a commitment to yourself. It means you refuse to settle for a life defined by suffering. You claim your power to rewrite your story, to build a future where your past pain feels your greatest impact. This investment is the foundation of resilience, wisdom, and unstoppable strength. When you nurture your mind, you unlock potential that no setback can destroy. Pain becomes your teacher, and purpose becomes your path. You walk forward with courage, knowing that the battles you faced are not chains, they are wings. And with every step, you rise higher, becoming a living testament to the power of a mind invested in greatness. Energy is one of the most precious currencies you possess, yet most people squander it without realizing the cost. To stay unavailable isn't about shutting the world out completely. It's about protecting your energy from those who drain it, those who do not respect your time or your worth. When you learn to guard your energy fiercely, you start to control your life instead of letting outside forces control it for you. People will ask for your attention, your time, your emotions, but you don't owe everyone a piece of yourself. Protecting your energy means saying no to distractions, no to toxic relationships, no to anything that doesn't fuel your growth or happiness. It means valuing your peace more than temporary approval or acceptance. Staying unavailable in certain moments is an act of self-love and power. It's a way of telling the world you are serious about your goals and your well-being. Because when your energy is protected, you show up stronger, sharper, and more focused in everything you do. Most people don't realize how much energy they give away daily in gossip and drama, in people's problems that aren't theirs, or in trying to please everyone. This constant outflow leaves them exhausted, overwhelmed, and stuck. Protecting your energy requires boundaries, and boundaries aren't selfish, they're necessary. Saying no to one thing means saying yes to yourself and your purpose. It's about prioritizing what matters and eliminating what doesn't. When you stay unavailable to negativity, to unnecessary noise, and to emotional vampires, you create space for clarity and creativity. You reclaim your mental bandwidth for the things that truly deserve your focus. This isn't about being cold or distant, it's about being intentional. Intentional about who and what you allow into your world. Because your energy is sacred, and how you manage it determines the quality of your life. Sometimes protecting your energy means stepping back from people you love. It's hard, but necessary. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life or a voice in your decisions. Some relationships, no matter how familiar or comfortable, are toxic. They drain your joy, chip away at your confidence, and leave you feeling smaller than you really are. Staying unavailable to those relationships isn't about bitterness or revenge. It's about self-preservation. Self-centered, it's about recognizing that your peace matters more than pleasing others. When you protect your energy by creating distance from negativity, you give yourself room to heal, grow, and refocus. The world doesn't need you burnt out or broken. It needs the best version of you, and that only happens when you choose to guard your energy like the treasure it is. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Social media, constant notifications, drama, endless noise. Staying unavailable means unplugging, even if just for a moment, to protect your mind and your spirit. It's about creating sacred space to recharge. When you commit to protecting your energy, you learn to be comfortable with silence, with solitude, with your own thoughts. And in that space, clarity emerges, your goals sharpen, your purpose becomes clear. You begin to understand what's worth your time and what's just noise trying to steal your attention. This kind of availability or unavailability is a form of discipline. It requires courage to say no to the constant pool of distraction and yes to your inner peace. But the payoff is priceless. A mind that is focused, a heart that is calm, and a spirit that is unbreakable. Protecting your energy also means being selective about the battles you fight. Not everything deserves your time or your response. When you learn to stay unavailable to unnecessary conflict or drama, you preserve your strength for what truly matters. It's about choosing your battles wisely and refusing to engage in energy-draining situations that don't serve your growth. You don't have to explain your boundaries to anyone. Your peace is reason enough. The more you protect your energy, the more you attract positivity and opportunities aligned with your purpose. You become magnetic because you carry an energy that's undisturbed by chaos or negativity. People respect that. They sense it. And that respect further fuels your momentum. Staying unavailable is a powerful act of self-respect and strategic living. There will always be demands on your energy, and some days will test your boundaries harder than others. But remember, staying unavailable is not about isolation. It's about preservation. It's about knowing that you cannot pour from an empty cup. When you protect your energy, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. You show up with strength to face challenges and the clarity to make wise decisions. Your energy becomes a shield against distraction and doubt. This practice allows you to live intentionally and pursue your goals without compromise. The freedom you gain from protecting your energy is profound. It gives you the power to shape your life on your terms. This is where true success begins, when you respect your energy as much as you respect your dreams. The moment you decide to stay unavailable to anything that drains you, you reclaim your power. You declare that your energy, your time, and your peace are non-negotiable. This is not arrogance. This is self-worth. When you protect your energy, you become unstoppable because you're no longer exhausted by things that don't serve your highest good. You become laser focused on what matters, and your life transforms. You show the world that your presence is a gift, not a commodity to be taken for granted. Protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. In that protection lies your power, your peace, and your ultimate potential. Stay unavailable when you must, so you can show up fully when it counts the most. Throughout this journey,